Okay, so have experts, business development experts like yourself, been trying to make a case for SME operators to ensure that this industrial plan that has come out and so many other policy plans that have also come out do not stop at 2015, and that the implementation is done even after 2015?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
What have business development experts like yourself been doing to ensure that SME operators don't suffer when, for instance, like you just mentioned, that if, for instance, a new government comes in, there's a tendency that the implementation level of a certain plan is either stopped or totally eradicated, or yes, totally eradicated. And so at the end of the day, the SME operator is on the losing end. So what are you doing to ensure that SME operators are not on the short end of the stick, so to speak, when even after a particular government leaves office?
What we've been doing is still what we keep doing is advocacy, basically. Advocacy. We speak with the government operators. We also get feedback from the SME guys, the entrepreneurs, the business owner on a daily basis. So when we're in meetings, when we're in stakeholders forum, we try as much as we can to pass this message and feedback across. But the most important thing, like I was said, is continuity. Is a big challenge. Is this some of this that is sustainable? Even the government itself has weak administrative arms that they cannot enforce. They cannot, see through some of these policies. So what we are asking for now, for any policy, there are several, not just the Industrial Revolution. There's the SET, New Common Tariff. There's the FBU. There are a lot of fantastic initiation going on at the moment. There are several. There's the digitization. There's the privatization of PHCN that is going on that will also rub off on the SME market. There is the refinery that we're also praying will come through, because the government are not, doing what they're supposed to do. This refinery are not at their optimal level. So what we do aside advocacy is to request that these things be instituted, so that there is a legislation behind some of those policies. So it's not a 1 month, 4 year, 8 year tenure, and when it's out of the scene, the policy is out of the scene.
So but then you're focusing more on, or rather, this conversation seems as if we focus more on federal government policies. What about the state government? Don't they have policies as well that should encourage SME operators?
They do. Most times it trickles down. If you look at during the Obasanjo era, for instance, they had a need at the federal level, then there are seeds at the state level. Lagos State, for instance, they are very strong in terms of their MFI, the way they organize. They have this a very strong, robust microfinance institute that they've empowered with public extra funds that they can also give out at low cost. So there are a lot of initiative at the state level. People are also looking at what is happening. There is this peer review that I think some governors are doing. What is happening in your state? How can I have a better team? How can I open up another, another aspect, another industry? Like when we go for UN supervision in the East, there's an industrial cluster that the government is almost giving the land to people to come and take up and set up businesses. So there are a lot of initiation and policies at the state level.
So I was going to ask, all these initiatives, you mentioned your WIN program, and we know that some other ones have actually come up. Have SME operators actually taken advantage of any of these programs?
Yes, plenty of them.
Okay.
Like the WIN, there are so many people that get awarded the grants for the last 2 years or so that have been running. These are people that we've been following closely. Some of them even are clients, and we've been monitoring what they've been doing. So, for example, the UN is an excellent program. We pray it goes on, and it exceeds 2015. Once that is done, then already that's hope in one sector. But in addition to what he said, we have also gone beyond just looking at the federal and state governments. We are supposed to be business development consultants.
Yes.
And so we also looked at what are the problems initially, assuming there is no government, of these SMEs. They have issues with, many of them even have a challenge with even running their business in the first place.
So why start up a business when you don't even know how to run it?
It's not about policy. It's not about policy. Sometimes people start business for majorly 2 reasons. Number one, unexpectedly. Accidents, inheritance, loss of job, so many things. And then 2, some people start business out of passion. This is my dream, this is what I see into the future. But now this is your target is in front of you, but there's a gap between you and your target. How do you fill that gap? One of them is skill acquisition. Even if you have a gift, if you don't have a skill if you don't fine-tune that your gift, it is not yet a skill. So one of the things we are doing is skill development for the SMEs we work with. That you need to be an expert in this particular field or whatever you are doing for you to stand out or for you to succeed.
Yeah, but then government also has, sessions where they, try as much as possible to do skill development for all these SME operators. And how many do most of them actually take advantage of it? I'm always wondering, because a lot of times when you sit among them, the complaints are always so much. And then you wonder, there's so many chances for you to take advantage of, especially from what the government is proposing, and it's like most of them don't even take it at all. They'd rather go to business development experts like you, who are not solely in government, to talk to. Why does that happen?
Again, like we said, there's a disconnect. You see, you will be in a meeting or in a training or a seminar, and you're telling a startup entrepreneur that's looking for probably 7 million and running up and down. He or she has a fantastic idea, and it's like, did you know about you win? Have you put it? What's you win? And you'll be shocked. Are you in this country? You mean third edition running? You don't know where you win is. You don't even know what's the URL. You cannot go online. You don't. You will be shocked that person is even a graduate. Even with the GIP, the Shopee, which I had again, that they had the new runs, So they have a GIP program running where it's just like an extended NYC, like I call it, where you can be attached as an intern to an organization for you to gather work experience, and you will be paid, But a lot of people still don't know. That's the challenge.
And the government needs to start publicizing these things, because it's also another issue. The government does something, it's publicized in Abuja or in some specific areas.
No, I don't know who to do for the government here, but a lot of times when they come up with this program, they make sure that it's broadcast across.
They use the media. But some of them, like I said, don't have access to radio, TV, their factory, their businesses. They don't read newspapers. They hardly know. Except they meet someone like us and will say, okay, now, I think it was last week or 2 weeks, just before Sanusi was removed, there's the 132 billion entrepreneurship fund for women.
Yes.
Women. That's like a UN 2, UN women all over.
And how many female SME operators actually knew?
And how many people can afford a TV or to watch TV, or how many people that the average SME is like an illiterate. Sorry to use that word, as in they are averagely unskilled. So, and the last thing they need to worry about is what was on TV, what was in the newspaper.
Okay, so how can this begin to be addressed?
Bring the information to the grassroots.
Okay,
you understand?
Because remember, we have the federal, we have the state, and we have the local government. So who? Probably should be the local government, because they're closest to the people that should be carrying this information to them.
Exactly.
Edward said, it trickles down. And we have a small challenge which is glaring to everybody. There's a disconnect between the federal, state, and local government. Federal government wants to run their program and run it as themselves. State governments want to run it without the federal government, of course, but with the federal government money. You understand? Then the local governments, so far, it seems as if they are stooges of the state governments. They are not fully independent. So at the end of the day, it is a federal-state thing. And if there is that disconnect between federal government, my own, state government, give me your money, but I do it my way, what happens? Okay,
let's just quickly respond to this tweet, if we can, from Sani Ozovehe. He says, the primary support banks are not enhanced. What then is the future of SMEs in a tight environment with commercial banks?
The primary support banks are not enhanced. Okay.
What then is the future of SMEs in a tight environment with commercial banks?
Commercial banks. In Nigeria today, the average commercial bank is not set up to support a startup or a small-scale business.
But then you've been asked to put aside 10%.
Yes, the money they've been setting the money aside. But still, the way you access it is like accessing a loan in a commercial bank. The average SME does not have what it takes to. If I can access a loan in a commercial bank, then why do I need the 10% that is being set aside? And then if you are setting those same conditions down, that this is what you need, you bring XYZ like collateral. If I have collateral, why would I keep it? I sell it and use it to run my business. I don't know if you get where I'm going to.
Yeah.
So based on that, they still have challenges assessing it. But thank God, that was why the government now set up microfinance banks. But the majority of the microfinance banks too are running their banks like a commercial bank. So it's still a major challenge. Yes, thank God now the access to loan through microfinance banks is now much easier. But there is still that challenge of this. As in the requirements of accessing a loan through those microfinance banks, there are still challenges.
Okay, so let's take a quick break now, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation.
All right. Okay.
Well, we're still talking SME development and how this can help grow the economy, and how government participation can actually help SME operators achieve growth and development. And I'm speaking with two business development experts, Ayo Emakweme, who is also the managing director of Coinbox Limited, and Edward Esene, he's a senior consultant of Kinetic Associates. We'll be right back.